How uncertain are all things on this earth. How unwise it would be for a believer to place their treasure anywhere but in heaven. Job's wealth and success seemed as stable as anything could appear in this world. He had a large household filled with loyal and dedicated servants. His wealth consisted of resources unlikely to lose value quickly: oxen, donkeys, and cattle. He didn't rely on markets or trade for food or clothing, because his vast agricultural operations provided everything his household needed. He likely produced everything required within his own lands. His many children promised a lasting legacy. His prosperity seemed complete, lacking nothing for its security. It had reached its peak. What could possibly cause it to decline? Up there, beyond the clouds, where no human eye could see, there was a scene enacted which augured no good to Job's prosperity. The spirit of evil stood face to face with the infinite spirit of all good. An extraordinary conversation took place between these two beings. When called to account for his doings, the evil one boasted that he had gone to and fro throughout the earth, insinuating that he had met with no hindrance to his will and found no one to oppose his freely moving and acting at his own pleasure. He had marched everywhere like a king in his own dominions, unhindered and unchallenged. When the great God reminded him that there was at least one place among men where he had no foothold and where his power was unrecognized, namely, in the heart of Job, that there was one man who stood like an impregnable castle, garrisoned by integrity and held with perfect loyalty as the possession of the King of Heaven. The evil one defied Jehovah to try the faithfulness of Job, told him that the patriarch's integrity was due to his prosperity, that he served God and eschewed evil from sinister motives because he found his conduct profitable to himself. The God of heaven took up the challenge of the evil one and gave him permission to take away all the mercies which he affirmed to be the props of Job's integrity, and to pull down all the outworks and buttresses and see whether the tower would not stand in its own inherent strength without them. In consequence of this, all Job's wealth went in one black day, and not even a child was left to whisper comfort. A second interview between the Lord and his fallen angel took place. Job was again the subject of conversation, and the Great One, defied by Satan, permitted him even to touch him in his bone and in his flesh, till the prince became worse than a pauper, and he who was rich and happy was poor and wretched, filled with disease from head to foot, and fain to scrape himself with a miserable potsherd, to gain a poor relief from his pain. Let us see in this the mutability of all terrestrial things. He hath founded it upon the floods, is David's description of this world. And, if it be founded on the floods, can yon wonder that it changes oft? Put not your trust in anything beneath the stars. Remember that change is written on the forefront of nature. Say not therefore, my mountain standeth firm, it shall never be moved. The glance of Jehovah's eye can shake thy mountain into dust. The touch of his foot can make it like Sinai to melt like wax, and to be altogether on a smoke. Set your affection on things above, where Christ sitteth on the right hand of God. And let your heart and your treasure be, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, nor thieves break through and steal. The words of Bernard may here instruct us. That is the true and chief joy which is not conceived from the creature, but received from the Creator, which being once possessed thereof, none can take from thee, compared with which all other pleasure is torment, all joy is grief, sweet things are bitter, all glory is baseness, and all delectable things are despicable. This is not, however, our subject this morning, except thus much as merely an introduction to our main discourse. The Lord said to Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job? Let us deliberate first, in what sense the evil spirit may be said to consider the people of God. Secondly, let us notice what it is that he considers about them. And then, thirdly, let us comfort ourselves by the reflection that one who is far above Satan considers us in a higher sense.